It is finally approved. Many stimulus bills have been passed by lawmakers. Checks will begin going out this month, and people have to meet the new eligibility requirements in order to receive these newly stimulus checks. So folks, it's pretty good to see that President Biden is helping out the American people with stimulus payments. If you think he's doing a good job on this, tell me in the comments. So you guys are going to have to take action right away to receive these relief checks. So now that tax season is over, residents in several states may be eligible for additional economic impact payments, and while a third round of stimulus checks were sent out, people can be eligible for a fourth one. In the state of Georgia, the governor signed a bill in March that will provide eligible state residents additional economic payments after they file their taxes. And according to the statement, once a taxpayer files their taxes for 2021, the state Department of Revenue will send out additional credit. Single taxpayers will receive $250, married couples will receive $500. A taxpayer that is considered the head of household will receive a $375 payment. According to the governor's office, when government takes in more than it needs, those dollars should be returned to the taxpayer, because that's your money, he said. Now, similar legislation was signed in Indiana. The governor's office said earlier this month the governor announced in December that an estimated 4.3 million taxpayers are set to receive a $125 stimulus check after filing taxes. That's an estimated $545 million going back to Indiana residents. In New Mexico, there could also be a chance for you to receive a tax rebate after filing taxes. The governor signed this legislation in March, and single tax filers will receive a one-time tax rebate of $250, and married filers will receive a one-time tax rebate of $500. In the state of New Jersey, residents will be eligible to receive up to $500 in tax rebates after they file their 2021 taxes. According to Forbes, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy and the state legislature previously approved a budget that sent out $500 tax rebate checks to approximately 1 million families. Last month, Murphy included a one-time $500 rebate check for individuals who filed their taxes using a taxpayer ID number. According to Forbes, everybody, the Idaho governor has also signed a bill that allocated $350 million in tax rebates for eligible residents. The Idaho Tax Commission released an official statement and said that any Idaho person who is full resident of 2020 and 2021 and who filed individual tax returns for that year are eligible for the rebate. The rebate amount will either be $75 for each taxpayer and each dependent of 12% of their 2020 taxes. In addition to these 5 states that have already approved additional economic payments, including the April 18th tax filing deadline, several other states have similar proposals in place that have yet to be passed by the state's legislature. According to Forbes, states like California, New York, and Hawaii have similar proposals to provide residents with additional economic payments.
Americans feeling the pain of rising prices. We've reported that everybody paying more for food, for cars, for gas, and even health care. Current and future retirees will likely see medical expenses make up an even bigger part of their budget. CNBC's senior personal finance correspondent Sharon Epperson spoke to some women who are worried.
When Kathy Martin turned 50, she hit the gym.
And I want to be active for as many years as possible.
What worries you the most about healthcare costs?
Not being able to access care. When you have to prioritize your living expense versus health care, that's a major problem.
Martin is in good company in this Silver Sneakers fitness class, whose members are working on staying healthy, but worry about the future.
What's going to happen when I get older? How am I going to be able to pay for the care that I need?
Premiums for Medicare Part B medical insurance for those 65 and older increased nearly 15% this year, almost double the pace of inflation. According to one estimate, if health care costs remain this high over the next 2 years, a healthy 55-year-old couple retiring at 65 is facing an additional $267,000 in medical expenses. Total health care costs for this same couple could exceed $1 million. That's nearly as much money as they could expect to receive in Social Security benefits during their lifetime.
Whether you're affluent or whether you're the average person, I'll tell you what, when you look at your Social Security check, you're paying for health care.
Regular exercise may keep you healthy, but overall, health care costs keep going up. If you're worried about rising medical expenses, financial experts say the first thing you should do is understand what your health insurance will and won't cover.
You really need to look at the coverage in those types of plans to determine what makes the most sense.
The gentleman from New York, Mr. Torres, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We know that if the self-closing door had been properly functioning at Twin Parks Northwest, the smoke would have been contained and countless lives would have been saved. Local law requires landlords to install and maintain self-closing doors. In addition to HPD, the housing department, both the buildings department and the fire department have the authority to issue violations relating to self-closing doors. Is that correct? And these violations are adjudicated by the Environmental Control Board, which as of 2020 had $1.5 billion in uncollected fines. So the inability to collect fines raises serious questions about the effectiveness of the city's mechanism for enforcing the self-closing door mandate, hence the need for federal intervention. And so my question to the HPD commissioner, if there were a federal mandate for self-closing doors, and if you had the authority to suspend a Section 8 payment to a landlord based on a violation of that mandate, would that provide the city of New York with a powerful enforcement tool?
Thank you, Member Torres. We passed, and you were in the city council when it happened, a local law making the self-closing door a life and safety emergency repair required condition that needed to be corrected within this 21-day period that's in the local law. That is a very important step toward addressing this problem. The housing quality standard at the federal level still does not have the self-closing door as a requirement, and other agencies can speak to this. We're encouraged by the fact that in our conversations with HUD, they're moving in that direction with an expected date of requiring self-closing doors of September 2023. We're encouraging that happens sooner rather than later.
And that would enhance your ability to enforce the self-closing door.
That would create a federal backstop. It would show the federal commitment to this important issue.
You spoke about intensified enforcement. You have data on the number of, since the fire in Twin Parks Northwest, how many inspections has the city conducted? How many violations has the city issued in relation to self-closing doors?
So it's an interesting phenomenon, and I think it points to the need for us to educate the public, because of that huge number of violations that we issued, 620,000, less than about 0.3%, or 99.7% of the violations issued were not for self-closing doors. We issued 22,000 violations in one fiscal year. 80% of them were cured, but the violations and the complaints don't quite match up.
What about since the fire? How many